Good morning. Today is Thursday, March 7, 2024. Calling to order the Prosperity, Livability, and Safety Committee. In the absence of our chair, Councilwoman Monica Peters, I, Tyrone Johnson, Councilman will be leading this. We do have in chamber Councilman Dr. Patrick Harmon and Councilwoman Vicky McKeever. And we will go ahead and get started with 2024-092. And our Assistant City Manager, Eric Ormetto, will start with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. Our first item today is a High Point Schools partnership update. And we will have Catherine Shoemaker, and we'll come up and introduce the rest of her team, but we'll get started with that item.
Hi, everyone. We are High Point Schools Partnership. So I'll introduce our team real quick. This is Dawn Spencer. She's our program coordinator. In the back is Raven Jefferson. She's our community resource coordinator. My name is Catherine Shoemaker. I am our HBU AmeriCorps Vista. And then Heather Bear is our youth enrichment and mentorship coordinator. So first, I'll just dive into our mission. So our mission is to mobilize the High Point community around the common purpose of partnering with our schools, because we believe that by doing that, our students can serve their full potential. And then I'll just jump into our three big whys. So GCS is the 5th largest employer in High Point. High Point schools make up 27 out of the 126 GCS schools, and 18 out of 27 schools in High Point are Title I. And now Dawn will jump into.
Good morning. So Catherine did a great job of giving you the big picture of our mission and our reason. I'm going to talk about our strategic outcomes. One of them, first and foremost, is to transform the narrative of the High Point Public Schools. We want to make sure everybody knows the great things that are going on in our schools. The second is to collaborate with the Guilford Education Alliance to enhance the GCS engagement with High Point Public Schools. And I think we're already seeing that. We see much more of Guilford County Schools representation visible in High Point. Our third outcome is to build impactful partnerships between the community and schools. You'll hear much more about that from Raven. She's going to expand on that a bit. And our fourth outcome is to establish an ecosystem of collaboration among our youth enrichment providers. And Heather will be talking more about that. The way we do this is through our programs and initiatives. We host networking events for school leaders, community leaders, faith leaders, folks to get together and talk about what they need from each other. Many of you have participated in our educator appreciation and student celebrations, where we lift up the great work of our teachers and our incredible students in High Point. We have a Partners for Education program that Raven will be talking about. It helps partners understand how to approach schools and what kinds of things schools need. And then career exploration and workforce development. We found that our partners in the community are very interested in supporting, particularly our high school students, in understanding the world of work. And finally, our fourth initiative, Youth Enrichment Provider Collaboration, and Heather will explain more about those. We have some key signature events that go with these initiatives. Our Extraordinary Educator Luncheon. We had our 5th annual luncheon last August, so we're planning for next August. That means we will have celebrated about 150 teachers by next August in High Point. And part of what we do is we request that the City Council and the Mayor do a proclamation honoring these teachers, and they're thrilled to be here. Our Student Leadership Awards are coming up May 2nd, and that's where we have principals select one senior from each of the 6 High Point high schools who's embodied leadership and who's really triumphed over adversity. And we like to honor those students, give them a chance to get up in front of the community and tell their story. It's an amazing program. We hope all of you will come. Many of you have participated in Principal for a Day. That's a GEA program, and I will say, since the High Point Schools Partnership 5 years ago, every school in High Point has had a member of the High Point community to be present for their principal for a day. Prior to that, High Point schools didn't get a lot of participation, and there wasn't a lot of connection with the community. So we're really proud of the participation for Principal for a Day. And we just had our second Faith Leaders Luncheon. That's a collaboration with the Ministers Conference and High Point University to help churches understand how they can better partner with schools. And next, Raven's going to talk about Partners for Education. Oh, I was doing that.
Good morning, everyone. So I oversee the Partners for Education initiative. Partnership is in our name, and so we are intentional about connecting different community partners with schools to create impactful, sustainable, and mutually beneficial partnerships. And so who are partners exactly? That can be a civic group, a church, a business or industry, or other local community groups that are there to support and meet a need for a school. And so far this year, we've been busy. So for the first semester of school, we have helped to establish 21 partnerships at 16 schools so far. Those partnerships have contributed 168 volunteer hours at those schools and about $28,000 in donations. That includes in-kind, and 33 students have participated in work-based learning opportunities, which I'll speak a little bit more about. And so when you ask what does partnership look like, this is how we kind of count that, those metrics for those. Partnership is essentially a commitment of volunteer hours, donations, whether that's in-kind or monetary, and a third of these are monetary, or sponsorships of school initiatives and programs. And so here are some of the partnerships the new ones that we have helped establish in our High Point schools. Some of those are very familiar with you all. As new businesses or organizations pop up on the scene, we try really hard to connect them with the school, as we feel the schools are everyone's business, and without great schools, it's really hard to have a great community. And so we feel strongly that a lot of our businesses and organizations should be invested in our schools. And these are just some of the businesses that have stepped up to the plate. The High Point Market Authority is a new partner with the school. As far as we know and they know, they never had a formal partnership with any schools. That means that our students here weren't exposed to the wonderful industry we have here. And so we were able to bridge that connection, as well as with our New Carolina Core FC and connecting them with the Newcomer School, which is our newest school here in the High Point community, serving immigrant and refugee students. And so wrapped into the Partners for Education is our career exploration and workforce development. These are industry and business partners that are looking to partner with schools and expose students to the different careers that we have right in their own backyard, right? And be able to provide them with different student work-based learning opportunities to create that awareness, and then also make clear to them the pathways to enter into these career opportunities. And so those student work-based learning opportunities include job shadowing, teacher externships, site visits, student internships, and apprenticeships. And like I said before, we had 33 students to participate in some of those work-based learning opportunities in the first semester, and those were specifically furnishing and market authority partnership opportunities. And we'll bring Heather up to talk about our YEP collaboration.
Thank you.
Good morning. I am the Youth Enrichment and Mentorship Coordinator. My position was from a grant from the City of High Point. I started back in October, and we work to facilitate programming that fosters a community among the YEP providers. They name themselves YEPs, Youth Enrichment Providers. What we're working to do is do an inventory and find out what types of programs are out there, identify gaps and overlaps, build a referral network, have an opportunity for them to exchange ideas and problem solve issues that they're facing, and then we're providing trainings that will enhance their programming. Some of the things that we've done back in the fall, we did a fall convening centered around mental health. They came and listened to providers that served students with mental health, gave them strategies and ways to connect if they're having students that need those services. Coming up in April, we're having a spring convening around literacy. We're having partnership with GCS and Shift Ed to come and give the YEPs and the people that work there, some strategies, some practical strategies they can use to help limit learning loss over the summer months. We've done quite a few collaboration and connections. We've had some mini trainings. We did one on social emotional learning. We try to spotlight them and share their events in our newsletter. I've gone around to about 55 of their programs to learn about them, take data, and find out what their needs are, and then part of that is going to be research. We're going to take all that information, we're going to analyze that data, and then have a report that shows where are the gaps in High Point, and then where are the overlaps, and what are the needs. That will also, with that, we're going to create a digital directory. We'll have a draft ready of that in April to share with the community, the YEPs, and get feedback. I skipped over leadership coaching. We were also awarded a grant, and so 11 of our executive directors or their directors are participating in coaching with D4 concepts to learn leadership and communication skills to enhance their programs. 2 upcoming things that are happening for our group is And More at High Point Market. We were chosen for the first time ever. This is a fundraising activity where they will donate furniture from the furniture market, and then we will get 100% of the proceeds from the sales. We can sell it, and we will get those proceeds to filter back into our work with students and teachers. That will happen around December, once we get it all set up. And then Schools in High Point is our current website, but we are doing an overhaul of that to make it more inviting, to make it more user-friendly, and to make sure that the great things happening with our schools and our YEPs are being highlighted and people know where resources are. Our directory, when we get it ready, will be housed there as well. This is our motto that we talk about at every meeting: great communities have great schools, and we cannot do that without the partnerships with the people in the community and all the wonderful things that are going on inside of High Point. Are there any questions?
So how many youth programs are you finding? I know you mentioned the 55. I'm just curious as your best guess. I'm sure you've uncovered some in the last few months that very few people knew about. I'm just curious.
So there are really about 30-ish of youth enrichment providers. The rest of those were people that came to either one of the convenings and expressed an interest, or they provide services. So they may, like there's a couple of mental health. I went to visit the Family Justice Center to find out what they do. Mm-hmm. They do have a camp, but that's for their kids. It's not something that's open to the general public. All the Ys and things like that. So there's about 30 of those type, like the YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, and then some much smaller ones that provide services. And then there are lots of people in the field that want to help and be a support to the youth. Okay. And there's quite a few mentors, quite a few that do mentorship. Most of those do it in the school. There are a few that do it outside of the school. The directory, when we get it ready, will show which are which, who are resources that parents or YEPs can use, and which ones are mentors, and which ones provide summer or after-school programming.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do you want to mention the resource fairs since you said that?
There is something happening. We partnered with Race McRae and the City of High Point and multiple other agencies that's happening April the 6th at Oakview Rec Center. It's a summer resource fair that's targeting parents and families that need resources. It started out with we were just going to provide, the YEPs were going to be there and they're going to share the services that they have and give parents ideas of what their kids could do over the summer. And with the partnership with them, it blossomed into a much bigger event. We're going to have Shift Ed there helping with kindergarten registration. Guilford County Schools will have someone from transportation, nutrition, and then many of our community organizations are also hosting tables to share the resources that are out there, and we're providing lunch for the folks.
Hopefully that's something the city can promote as well on our social media and that sort of stuff.
You are.
Okay.
Grace has got it.
Okay, let's make sure. And as information, there's the Opportunity Fair that's happening next Wednesday to try to get youth access to either summer jobs or part-time jobs. So I'm interested to see how that turns out as well.
We have about 30 employers signed up, and we're expecting over 300 students. And students at all 6 high schools have received job fair prep sessions hosted by Race from the City of High Point and HPU Vistas.
Yeah.
That's great. Yes. Yes. Any other questions or comments?
Well, maybe you guys can come back in a few months. I mean, with the details about the director and some feedback. I mean, some of the gaps you identified, I think are really interesting for, not just for us to hear, but the wider community as well.
Well, it looks like you all have been busy. I was looking at the 21 partnerships at 16 schools, the volunteer hours, the donations. And that's absolutely great. So thank you. Kudos to you. So any questions? Comments?
I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Guys, appreciate
Thank
it.
you for your support.
Next, we will have 2024-093, High Points Arts Council update, and turn it over to Mr. Eric Meadows.
Yes, sir. This is an update from the High Point Arts Council regarding their recent strategic plan and rebrand launch. And we have Ali Arpegian, the executive director, and Raven Jefferson is on this item as well. So turn it over to them.
Thank y'all so much. We're really excited to share some updates. I know some council members know a lot about the Arts Council, and some are more new or getting a personal tour even later of the Arts Council. So you're going to hear all about what we've got going on. We're really excited to be here today. I've got the fabulous Raven Jefferson, our board chair. She'll be giving you insight into about where we're going in our future. And like it was mentioned, I'm Ali Arpegian. I'm the executive director. We've been moving at breakneck speed to do all this positive change, and we've been working really, really hard to launch a new brand, and you don't see it yet, but you will see it, and also a new strategic plan. So this strategic plan came out of a whole year of listening to the community. We did surveys, and we did 15 different pop-up focus groups around town. Very intentional. We went to places like the YW, we went to the Latino Family Center with a translator, we went to every single after-school recreation program here in High Point. We went to Pennyburn, so we were really getting all ages, different races. We were at Cogden, and we got over 200 plus voices to get into the survey that really shaped the strategic plan and shaped our new direction, because we know it's not helpful to just make decisions in an ivory tower and do whatever we think is best. We are here to serve the community and the needs of the artists and the community as a whole. So we wanted those voices in our new plan. So after we did all year of listening, we built our plan, and we have a new mission statement. And our mission is to enrich lives through the arts. And we are having a new slogan as well. And we say that we do that in 3 ways: by uniting, exciting, and igniting the arts in High Point. So when it comes to uniting, it really goes back to our mission of enriching lives. We want to serve the entire community, all walks of life, all different backgrounds, and remove barriers to the arts and make it really accessible. So we unite the community in that way. And I know that that also aligns with big objectives of the city, especially with the new comprehensive plan, that inclusivity, that building that sense of community. We're a partner for that through the arts. Then we also do that with exciting programs. So we do a lot of different programs. I won't give you a full detail because I'm going to show you pictures and go into it all. But like I mentioned, our whole goal is to promote accessibility. We know the arts, let's be real, it can be classless at times, right? There's a lot of barriers to participating in the arts. You have to have a certain amount of funding to study a private instrument, to be able to learn how to paint. We're removing those barriers as best we can in all the ways we can through grants, thanks to the city's support, to bring the arts to folks regardless of transportation, ability to participate. We do our best through our programs to keep it exciting. And then we ignite the arts through different strategies of grants. So this past year, we were able to give $130,000 out to organizations that are arts. And new this year, we didn't just keep it how it had been in the past with our affiliates, who are the High Point Ballet and High Point Community Theater. We opened it up to really serve a lot of new grantees and even design community as well. And we also do different initiatives to ignite the arts through professional development, as well as bi-monthly, we're calling it Creative Conversations. So I know that Councilwoman Cook has been to them. And what we do is we gather all the arts and design folks bi-monthly, and we're all going through similar things. So we talk together, we offer support to each other. It's an effort to collaborate on things that we want together, and anybody is welcome to come participate in these conversations. So a little bit about our new logo. It stemmed out of actually a few different things. It stemmed out of an old design that we had at the Arts Council that kind of ignited this history, because we've been around for 62 years now. So we wanted to honor our past while also moving forward. So we had a lot of different retreats with our board, and actually Raven's group came up with this fun wheel idea about, really being a catalyst for the arts and moving the arts forward. And it kind of nicely ties into the fact that since we are in an old train depot, we have that big train out in front, there's, the wheel moving it, keeping it going. You see where I'm going with this?
Where you going? I see where you going.
So that leads us to our new logo. There's a couple different variations that I'm presenting to you, but you can kind of see that wheel image in it, as well as the honoring the past of that old tree logo that we had in the past. And maybe a little birdie told me right before that maybe the little H dot should go in the middle or something. So I'll put it in consideration. And then I know this is something that especially Councilwoman Peters has been really, really passionate about, and she brought up to me when I first started almost 2 years ago, the confusion around, is it the High Point Arts Council? Is it Centennial Arts Center? So we're very intentional to make sure that we have a logo that when we are doing things in our building, we are the High Point Arts Council and we're at Centennial Station Arts Center. So you'll see a couple different variations, and then you see the one that's Unite, Excite, Ignite. Our Unite is our blue, our Excite is our purple, and Ignite is our red color. So we've also been doing a much better job, thanks to Madam Manager Logan Ford, who mentioned when I first got here, we really, really want to know where our money's going. Of course y'all do. Of course you want to know that. So we've been tracking more statistics more intentionally in the past couple years. So you see some of those statistics here, and we're really, really proud to be able to award the grants that we do. Thanks to the state, that really a good chunk of that money comes from the State Arts Council that we do in partnership with the Arts Council of Greater Greensboro. And the exciting thing is this year, there was an increase in grassroots funding. So once we total up all the numbers, you're going to see a bigger increase for this coming year in grants that were awarded to more organizations. And then we also give back basically half of our building of in-kind donation support. So we had someone come out and actually evaluate that, and that totals to $144,000 of in-kind space that we give out annually, and we've been doing that for over a decade now. This past year, we hired 258 artists in all of the programming that we do, which we are excited to be able to support that many musicians and actors and singers and dancers. And the really cool thing is through our grant program, through our building usage, through all the programming that we do, we've had over 235,000 touch points with people. So that's almost double the size of the population here in High Point. So we're really proud about that. We've had a 45% increase in programming this past year. We've done a lot of new things I'm going to tell you about. And since coming out of COVID, we've tripled our John Coltrane Jazz Youth enrollment, which is fabulous. We are the home, we give in-kind space to the High Point Community Theater, so if you went last weekend to see their show, it was in our space, and we're proud to be able to support them, as well as the High Point Ballet. And one of our new grantees was TAG this year. We had a lot of new ones, so I'm not going to highlight all of them just for time's sake, but we're proud to give a grant back out to TAG. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but TAG used to be a program of the Arts Councils. So it was actually served as an incubator for them a long time ago, and we're proud to be able to partner back and be able to support them again this year. The International Society of Furniture Designers received a grant to do a podcast highlighting marginalized designers in the community that we were able to support. And new grantee this year for basic operating funds is Binmark International Dance. So the really neat thing is we have two cycles. We have a grassroots cycle, that money comes from the state, and then we have a basic operating grant. And we know that not many folks give grants for operating. It's always tied to our program, right? The arts are struggling. They're one of the sectors hit the hardest from COVID. We're still trying to recover. There's a ton of burnout happening. We know that the great need is to get operating funds to our arts community. So we actually build this through our own grassroots fundraising. I wish and I'm praying that some of the grants that I wrote in the past month pull through for a development director. We don't have one right now. You're looking at our development director, and you're looking at the team that makes sure that we get grassroots fundraising efforts. It's all peer-to-peer fundraising, and it's not just for us, it's for the community, because we're giving these grants out. So we were able to raise last year $40,000 in funding to be able to provide basic operating support. We also had a new grantee as of last year that's able to sustain again this year, Brian Strickland's Mind Group, and he's been having different pop-up music sessions, which are really great throughout the triad. We started a new community band. It's called the Titan Civic Band. This is in partnership with GTCC. And it is fabulous. That is our conductor, Dr. Larry Spell, in the front there. And we have tons of members from really all over the triad, but a good chunk here in High Point. And don't tell Greensboro knows this because they're sending them our way, but we're stealing them from Greensboro. So we're excited about that too. And they actually have a concert coming up on March 20th, and they're able to use our space weekly to have rehearsals, and then they perform in our space as well. But if they continue to grow at the rate they are, we're going to need a new space to host all these for our concerts. So we're proud of the Titan Band. And another new program we started thanks to grant support from State Arts Council and Truist, as well as over in the Greensboro Arts Council, is called the Artful Business Cohort. So after our year of listening, I think a lot of people in this room know Sabrina Tillman. And I sat down with her as, a local artist that's been in the community for a really long time. And she told me that the visual arts community is very fragile. We lose a lot of our visual artists to Winston, Greensboro, Asheville, all these major places that have a little bit more support for visual artists. So we sat down and we brainstormed. And then we were able to get grant funding to initiate this new program. We call it lovingly the ABC cohort. The tagline is Learn the ABCs of Arts and Business. And what it is the first 8 weeks, so let me back up. It's really focused on marginalized communities that, again, increasing that access to the arts, that maybe grew up but didn't have the funds to take professional visual art fundamental classes, or even just be able to pay for oil pastels or whatever, charcoal, whatever they might need as their medium. So now they have some really good organic skill. So we're taking them in this cohort where the first 8 weeks, Sabrina Tillman teaches them visual arts fundamental skills. She just lovingly describes it as like a master class in fine art. And then the next 8 weeks, they're getting business skills. So we've had Tamara Jeffries come in from the Buy Black Guide to talk about her work in marketing and community engagement. We've had Dr. Madeline Stackhouse from the Bryan School of Business help them develop a business plan. We've had Dr. Scott Rayner from HPU. I don't know if you know this, but Scott has a really popular TikTok. He takes a giant paintbrush and he's got like a crazy amount of followers. So yeah, look him up and follow him. But he told them all about like how to use what's out there now to leverage yourself as an artist in a new way of thinking about business thanks to social media. So we've had all these great people come out, and Josephus Thompson came out, talked to them about his model with the Poetry Cafe as an LLC. So they've been inspired. They've been able to go to Splashworks and TAG and learn how to really represent themselves to get ready to show at a fine art gallery like TAG. And the really neat thing is through this, we are tying it back to the furniture market next month. So on April 15th, that's a Monday, at 7 o'clock in our space, or no, 6 o'clock, I'm sorry. In our space, they're going to be showing their final work of everything they've learned this past year through the cohort. And now we're starting to bridge back into, the connection with design and furniture. And I also recently learned from the cohort and Sabrina Tillman, they were telling me that now the Arts Council is truly one of the only spaces that they know of, that they've told me about, where an emerging artist can show. And we have 17 of them currently in our space, which is really exciting. One of our artists is Yuji Win, and thanks to the ABC cohort that she's been in this year, she actually left her full-time job in corporate America to become a full-time artist. And she said that was thanks to being in this cohort. It kind of gave her that courage to take the leap of faith. And she's doing major installations, and she's working with the furniture companies to make incredible art happen. Day in the Park. Y'all know that this is one of our legacy programs that we have. We're getting ready to celebrate our 50th anniversary this month. We internally are calling it our Earth, Wind, and Fire Month because it's happening on September 21st. So, do you remember? So we're excited about it. So we might need a little Earth, Wind, and Fire tribute band. But we were really thrilled last year to have the police department came out. They had a truck. We had, the fire department. We had the library. I mean, gosh, we partnered with, I think the numbers were over like 200 different artists and makers. And we had over 20 different partnerships represented throughout the city. So we're really excited to get ready to plan the 50th this year. Oh, and we're the longest running arts festival in Guilford County, which I think is cool. And then if you didn't know, we also do a few free things in the realm of arts education. We have a monthly songwriter circle that meets and is led by songwriter Jack Gorham. And we actually had one of our songwriters create a new jingle for us. So stay tuned to hear our jingle out there in the future. And then we do a Pullman Poet Society that meets monthly as well, and it's a very inclusive group, lots of ages, lots of different backgrounds, and they meet monthly with a different topic each month. They actually, last month for Black History Month, they went to Damage Poetry Lounge, and one of the poets in the group told her story of growing up with Martin Luther King and Maya Angelou, and it was really powerful. And she has Golo Golo roots, so she was dressed in her cultural garb, and it was just beautiful to hear her talk about her experience. And then we have Art Splash. I know a couple of people have been talking to me about Art Splash, so we're getting ready to initiate our call for bands this week. So if you have a band, follow us on social. And we pop up in 6 different parks throughout the community. And since we do serve Greater High Point, that is our mission as the Arts Council, last year we started a new partnership with Jamestown that we're really proud of to be able to go out into their parks as well as our parks. And we're proud of the partnership with the city and Parks and Recreation to be able to provide this free summer concert series. The John Coltrane Jazz Workshop we've gone on for over 20 years now. We take middle school and high school students and we teach them the fundamentals of jazz. And we do this in partnership with GCS at Penn Griffin School for the Arts, because we all know why Penn Griffin, right? John Coltrane went there. So it's really empowering. It's also really interesting when I get up and I make the speech about why we do it here to hear the audience go, oh, they didn't know. So we also do a pre and post test of our students to track their learning throughout the program. And a lot of it is they didn't know about John Coltrane's history and legacy. So it's fun to be able to educate our students and develop more High Point pride. I know this sounds odd, but we do a bridal expo annually. It's coming up on the 24th. But this is part of our owning a building. We have to have some revenue generation. So we're excited that we're going to hit our rental revenue goal in the next month. So this helps to give back to the operations and the Arts Council and keep us sustainable. And we have our bridal expo coming up, like I said, on the 24th of Sunday. We tried a new initiative this year, Christmas at Motown. It was actually written by one of our staff members who's a playwright, Teresa Lindsay, and it went over so well. Each show was sold out, and we're really excited about that. And Teresa was kind of mentioning there's not a lot of Black theater that happens in the area, so she was really proud to be able to offer this, and we were proud to be able to offer that too. And it was all local talent, which was amazing. Yeah. We're also doing new makers markets. I know that might be of interest to the city since, the new slogan is what we make here changes the world. So we've been holding new makers markets, and these have been really successful for the makers. A lot of them have sold out a lot of times of what they're bringing. So we're excited to be able to provide that economic boost for our artists and makers. And then, I'm almost done, I promise. We do a lot of things. There's a quiz at the end. And then a new program that we've done this year that we're thrilled about is we're calling it Page to Stage internally. So what we're doing is it's something for early childhood folks. So that's 0 through 10 is the target range. And since we are, thanks to Visit High Point, we're an autism certified center, that's great to have that knowledge, but what are you going to do with it? So we did something with it because, if we're going to be an autism destination, we need to have programming around that, right? So we started the very first sensory-friendly program, to my knowledge, and as I'm asking other people, that's ever been done in the arts in High Point. So we're really proud to do that. We built new partnerships with Guilford Child Development and a couple of the Head Starts and early Head Starts in the area and the preschools. And they came out for the school shows. We actually ended up adding a 4th show due to demand. And through the surveys that we really wanted to do a program because when I first got here, I sat with Paul Lazard and I said, as the leader of the Community Foundation, what are the gaps in the community? And he said, well, do you want to know about the arts? I said, no, because I can make the arts fit into anything. I truly can, because they do. Tell me what the needs are of the community. And he said the biggest needs were literacy and safe out-of-school time programs. So that's where this program came from. It addresses literacy because we're taking a children's book and we're bringing it to life, and it's a safe family bonding experience that happens out of school. So we were able to partner with Ready for School, Ready for Life. They provided 100 books. Each of the students that came took a copy of The Snowy Day, which was the production that we did home with them. The library came out. They provided headphones and fidgets. We had a social story made so that students could transition easily into our space and out of the space. And we know that's good, not just for kids with disabilities, but really, truly any child, right? This benefits. And the parent survey said that 100% of folks agreed that the program helped to encourage early literacy, and they really, really love the interactive nature of the production. And my goal is to make this a monthly production. So I am just hoping that these grants pull through so we can do that.
Right.
And I'm done. You're done listening to me. I know it's a lot. And I'm going to let Raven talk about her strategic plan.
Thank you, Allie. That was really the bread and butter of it all. I'll be very brief. But our strategic plan, as Allie mentioned before, this was about a year-long process for us, and we were excited to have this final result. So we don't have the whole thing on this slide because I am going to be brief, but if you'd like to scan the QR code, we can also provide it for you. Is it on our website yet?
Yes, it is.
It's linked on our website if you'd like to check there as well. I see one person scanning, so I'll take just a second.
Perfect.
Get it? And so out of that process, we were able to develop 4 strategic priority areas. And out of those 4 areas, it really gave us 2 lenses to look through: community empowerment through the arts and organizational resilience, so that we can ensure that we're here another 60 plus years to serve the High Point community. So looking at those one by one, our priority number 1 of amplifying community engagement, we plan to do that a myriad of ways, by continuing to provide the programming we do, but developing new programming and also partnering with existing organizations or helping new organizations get off the ground to be able to enhance and expand current offerings that are in the city, and also provide some new programming, because if we want to be, the place where creatives thrive here in High Point, we want to be able to saturate the community with the arts. And so we want to be able to help do that through our granting and through our support, like the ABC program, to help create our own home crop of talent here in High Point. Fostering our brand identity and visibility is our second priority. We've done a lot of good things in the community over the years, and we're continuing to do more. But what we found out through surveying the community is that a lot of people didn't know that we were behind the scenes doing a lot of it. And so to ensure our own success and sustainability as an organization, we want to be sure that people are aware who we are and what we do and how we can support them through the lens of arts. Priority number 3 being financial and human resource sustainability. If you're familiar with the Arts Council, we are brand new, meaning new staff, new board, new logo, new branding, new all around. And so with that, we want to be able to, sustain ourselves and make sure we have the plans and processes in place to sustain that human capital. That's whether our staff as well as our volunteers, our board, and the hundreds of volunteers that help with our programming, but also develop new ways of fundraising to be able to sustain the work that we do in the community as well. And priority number 4 being enhance, strengthen, enhance and strengthen operational infrastructure. And so Ally has done a great job bringing some structure to the Arts Council, creeping up on her second year as the president of the Arts Council. And so the team and the board are working really hard to ensure that we have, like we said before, the right processes and systems in place so that the arts can truly thrive in High Point and that the Arts Council can be a compass for that. I thank you all for your time. Does anyone have any questions?
Questions? I do have a comment, though. Ally has so much energy. I told her that recently. If you don't have a lot of energy after you talk to her, you will. And I love it, though. I heard Raven say that new staff, new board. However, I see with all of what we just witnessed, and we said 62 years, we see another 62 years plus with everything that's going on in the community that you guys are started and continuing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's like a new day for the Arts Council. I think the last couple of years have been, because when you had the kickoff for the relaunch, yeah, I mean, to see sort of the community actually reflected at the Arts Council. It was really cool. Are you going to do the Makers Market more than once a year? I mean,
Great question. So what I would love to do, my goal, so right now we're hiring for someone to coordinate the programs because that's an open role right now. So got a lot of great folks that we're going through in interviews. My goal, like I would love to do like, you know, each month to be really intentional with the celebration of the month. Like for March, doing a women's makers market, you know, in February, doing a Black makers market, for, you know, Asian American Heritage Month, I believe is May, like, you know, being very intentional with those months to tie it all into our inclusive programs, because we're taking our programs and really using it through the lens of inclusivity, like you said, to represent the community.
yeah, that's awesome.
There's one, I'm going to say one thing. I know I've talked a lot, but I'm really honored to serve on the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee as well. And I sat with Heidi for an hour yesterday because I am a very passionate person and wrote 5 pages of notes and compared, yeah, I know, I'm a lot. And I compared it to like other cities and they referenced Austin, so I pulled up their comprehensive plan. And the arts are mentioned 348 times in their plan. They have specific objectives for musicians making a living wage. We're not there yet, right? But if we think about the next 20 years, I made suggestions for how to plant seeds in the next 20 years. So I'm here as your partner to help you. As the Arts Council, we are here to help the city hit its goals, especially with the new branding and the new focus on arts and design. So excited to see what comes of it.
Well, I just want to make a comment. I attended the Christmas Motown thing. It was very, very, very good. And also the events that y'all had during the summertime, different areas. I went to one at City Lake, and I just want to say great job.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you for coming.
And one other question, the bi-monthly conversations. When is the next one?
Oh, I need to go look at my calendar. What we do is we pop up in different locations, which has been fascinating too, because we have artists, people that are professors in the arts that, like, literally we did one at Dave at the theater, the High Point Theater, and most of the people had never even stepped in the theater that are artists themselves. So it's been really neat to rotate spaces and have each other see where we can collaborate. I will send you, I'll send a list of all the upcoming dates and the locations.
Do we post it?
I can do a better job of that.
Great, thank you. And again, the rebranding, that event was absolutely awesome. I mean, it was, if you missed it, it was packed. It was great.
Thank you.
Standing room, I tell you, it was great. But thank you.
Thanks, y'all. Thank you.
Yes. The next one, 2024-095, is a discussion regarding city-sponsored special event. Did I skip one?
Yeah.
I sure did. Sorry, y'all. The next one, 2024-094, is the High Point Fire Department Annual Report, and that will be done by Chief Tommy Reed. How could I forget that one?
We'll good morning. Thank you for having us here. I do not have a great team behind me. Chief Reed is unable to be here today. Chief Reed, Chief Evans have gone to Pennsylvania to pick up a 1928 American LaFrance fire truck that was once originally from us here in High Point. So they've spent about 4 years rebuilding the engine, and they're bringing it home tomorrow.
Coming
So
home,
it'll be
okay.
back in town. We'll have it back in our parades, back in everything that we do. It needs brakes. Other than that, she's ready to roll again, and it's quite a sight if you've never seen it. She's really a pretty truck.
She'll be in the parade this year?
Yes, yeah. We just have to put brakes on it, and we're ready to roll.
Okay, good.
The brakes work enough to get from Pennsylvania, right?
So they are packed in a very small regular cab, which,
Okay, good.
as we all know, Chief Reed and Chief Evans are very drastic in their appearance. So they're packed in that truck, and they headed out about 4 o'clock this morning. So
Awesome.
they're making their way up there. So Chief Reed has put together just a quick synopsis of what we've done over the last year. A lot of unlike some of our other presentations, we don't have fun. You guys get to have the fun. We don't have the fun. We've been dealing with a lot of challenges, a lot of obstacles. COVID-19 is still affecting a lot of what we do. Our supply chain is still down, so maintaining our apparatus and keeping it on the road we've had to get creative with that. Also, some of our medical supplies that we've been being supported by Guilford County with some things, but that is coming to an end, and so we are getting creative also there. So the last thing, and probably the biggest thing that we've had to struggle with, is our labor force. When I came on many years ago, many applicants were trying to get very few jobs, and now we're struggling to get any applicants in any jobs. So city has been very beneficial with us with increasing our starting pay, and we have been somewhat competitive, but we're starting to fall behind again. And this new labor force, they go to the highest dollar. They don't seem to have that same drive and passion to be with one department anymore. This next generation is highest bidder, and so that's definitely one of the struggles that we've been dealing with. This is our senior command staff at the current time. Chief Reed will be retiring at the end of the month with, I believe, 43, 44 years. So he will be passing the torch and calling it quits. So our command staff right now, Deputy Chief Brian Evans is our administrative chief. He was over operations. He moved over to administrative. He will be over our training division, inspections division, IT. He's heavily involved in our finance and some of our strategic planning. Myself, Deputy Chief Jason Valade, newly appointed. I've only been in this position about 4 months. I've got about 18 months with administrative entirety. I was working within the facility maintenance, fleet maintenance, and logistics. I did that for about 14 months. Before that, I was 25 and a half years on the street. Most of my time spent on Centennial Street. So I'll be over operations, so I'm over all personnel, day-to-day problems and opportunities to lead in a new manner. We have, we'll get to a further slide, we have 216 personnel who are very alpha personalities. They're very driven. So, and we've got 60 some on the street every day and a large apparatus. So always new and exciting challenges every morning. I get a phone call. So Assistant Chief Perry Hall, he's over our training division. Perry came to us just a few years ago from Guilford County. He came in as an emergency manager. We've moved him over to our training chief. Perry is in charge of our delivery agency. We are a delivery agency with the state of North Carolina, which means that when we take in a recruit that is not certified, that is green off the street, we can, North Carolina State, certify him all the way through, put him on the street, fully qualified to do the position. The only outside thing we do for training is we send out for EMT, which we still utilize at local community colleges for that. And then Assistant Chief Michael Foster. Michael Foster is over our specialty teams. He is also over, he is our EM at the current time. And And let's see, what else does Michael do? Michael's also over our hiring process at this time. He's heavily involved in our NeoGov system and trying to bring in new employees. High Point Fire Department is nationally recognized. We are an ISO Class 1 rating, and we are accredited. That makes us one of only 117 departments in the nation. We do participate on a regular basis with our, once a year in our legislative day in Raleigh, where we go down and we stand with other departments for policies and procedures and safety measures. And our next slide, going into staffing. Our staffing is, at the current time, we have 216 personnel in the Operations Suppression Division. We have 24 administrative positions and for a total of 240 employees. We are currently down 30 employees in the Suppression Division. We have 12 that graduate rookie school in May. We have 6 that start fast track rookie class in March, end of March, on the 25th. Those are 6 individuals that have come from another agency, pre-qualified, pre-certified. They're doing the one thing that I just said is a problem for us. We're a part of the problem. People are poaching ours and we're poaching theirs. It's just the nature of the game. When we go to the Piedmont Fire Council or we go to our Metro Chiefs Council and we sit around the room and all the chiefs talk about the problems, from Charlotte to Chapel Hill, from Asheville to Fayetteville, we all had the same problems. Wilmington, supply chain, apparatus delays of receiving the apparatus from the vendors and keeping personnel. So we're all kind of battling the same problem. We have 14 fire stations. 5 of them are multi-company stations, which means there's either a ladder company or an engine company in the house together. Some of them also house our battalion chiefs. And then there's 9 single company stations, which means those companies are assigned 4 personnel. We're riding minimum staffing every day right now with only 3. 89,000 plus training hours. The average employee is bringing in 373 training hours a year. Our ISO rating for the state requires us to have 240 maintained training hours a year of certified training, qualified training. A lot of our companies get more than that. Most of our personnel get more than that. That number is a little bit higher due to our recruits that come in. Our recruits end up receiving, don't hold me to it, but over 400 hours in that 16 to 24 week time that they're in there. They go through the ringer pretty good. Our 58 square miles that we service, we have 14 square miles that is also contract coverage. We do assist other agencies, Pinecroft Sedgefield, Gilran Fire Department to south of us, Archdale, Hasty Fire Department, Horningtown, Kernersville. We are assisting all those other agencies under contract where we're not the first arriving unit in their territory, but we are arriving with them and assisting them. As you can see going through here, we have increased significantly. Over the last 12 years, Chief Reed has added 15 positions to our line suppression personnel. We are hoping to apply for a SAFER grant and receive an additional 18 positions. Those positions will bring all of our apparatus to a minimum of 4 people on a truck. A couple slides back, the stations at multi-company, if there's a truck company and engine company together, such as at headquarters, the engine only rides with 3 people every day, fully staffed. We would like to bring those up to 4. So the SAFER grant is an opportunity for us to take that in. But as population continues to grow, we're going to continue to grow. In our red bubble, our personnel do work a 24-hour shift. We start at 7:55. We get off at 7:55 in the morning. And in that time, crews can ride anything and everything you can imagine. Anything from a smoke detector to the most horrific day that is imaginable. That's the nature of our job. And our men and women really are passionate about riding those calls, even when they're not popular. We have other peer support groups that are in place that do support that, along with our chaplaincy program. But we do face anything and everything. Our specialty teams, we do more than just fight fire and take care of vehicle accidents. We have 4 specialty teams. We actually have a 5th one in development right now. I'll touch on that in a second. Our hazardous material team, High Point is known for some of the worst chemicals on the Eastern Seaboard. Some of our facilities really house a lot of really bad stuff. With our team, we are just one step below the state regional response teams, which has 5 teams throughout the state that respond to the smaller agencies. Well, we're comparable to those. We keep up with Greensboro, we keep up with Wilmington and Asheville. We are comparable to those same teams. We have personnel at all these stations, at least 6 different stations. They are trained to the technician level, which is 2 steps higher than the state minimum requirement. We have a few specialists throughout the state, or throughout the city, and when they receive specialists, it's in surface transportation, rail car, biohazard, that sort of thing. The technical rescue team, also known as our USAR team, urgent search and rescue, they kind of have a little bit more of a fun job. They get to rappel. They are known for going into collapsed structures. They perform high-angle rescues and trench rescue. They're in a developmental stage right now. We're trying to add a few more hours to their yearly training to get us back up to where we were. We've lost a lot of experience through retirement in the last few years, so we're trying to bring them back along. I'll skip to the end with dive team. Our dive team is search and recovery, basically. We're trying to add back into a surface water rescue team, which we had at one time. It's fallen a little bit by the wayside due to funding and some of the materials that we need for that, boats, that sort of thing. We are still capable of performing swift water rescues. We're just not as capable of going in after the victim as we used to be. So we're a little bit more cautious as to how we handle it. Fortunately, we don't have a lot of swift water in the city, so we're not caught with that. The dive team, however, does get dispatched throughout the state. We have a new one of 2 ROV. Best way to describe it, if anybody's ever watched anything with Jacques Cousteau or the Titanic, we've got one. We've got a robot. It's roughly $250,000, and it is housed at Station 5 on Johnson Street. We are dispatching on a regular basis to other lakes, other waterways throughout the city, and the advantage to that machine is we can stick it in the water, and accompanied with our other boat team at Station 10 with sonar and our towfish that give a wide variety of what's underneath the water we can see. We don't have to stick a diver in zero visibility where he could get tangled up in everything that's underwater, from stumps to barbed wire and everything else. So we use this ROV to go in, and the ROV can locate the victim and then bring it to a safe surface, and then our divers can go in and complete the recovery and closure for the family. I skipped over the bike team. Our bike team is our one and only fun team. As Arts Council, obviously, they all have more fun than we do. But our bike team is the team that gets to participate in all that. Our bike team is a big component with Furniture Market, but we also get to do Uncle Sam Jam. We get to do Coltrane Festival, Go Far races. I think they're getting ready to talk in just a few minutes. Parades. Our bike team is a good opportunity for us to be the positive image that the fire department needs out in the public. One thing that's not on there is High Point University. We're very big with all of their events as well. Thankfully, we are also getting ready to launch, no pun intended, a drone program. Last 2 weeks, we just sent 14 of our personnel to a drone class, and we're looking to purchase 2 drones to place on apparatus within the city. The drones are going to be able, and I linked this with the bike team. Chief Foster is over our bike team. This is one of his projects where the drone team is also going to be under him. And the drone is going to be able to be utilized in each one of these specialty teams. We can use a drone for our dive rescue, for an elevated idea, and also to pick up points of interest that we might need. We can use it for technical rescue if we need to see inside a building. Our folks have been taught now how to fly into structures and fly through structures with the drone, much like PD already does. And then for hazmat, we can put our drone in hazardous places that we can't put personnel and get a bird's eye view of what we're dealing with. So the drone team is to be announced and to be determined, but it's coming. So you'll hear more about it in the near future, hopefully. This is our call volume slide. As you can see, our population is obviously always increasing, as you all know. However, our call volume goes up with that. So we are roughly riding 17,000 incidents a year. With those 17,000 incidents, we have anywhere from 17,000 to 35,000 times the door is opening and an apparatus is going out on the road. So going back to my first statement, that's 35,000 times that we have personnel in harm's way. That's also 35,000 times that we have personnel that are helping our community and taking somebody's worst day and trying to make it better. It does open the door for problems that can occur when an apparatus is responding to emergency traffic, but the nature of the business. This is just a breakdown of our stations. Just for example, Station 1 on Centennial Street, Engine 1, Battalion 2, our shift commander, Southside shift commander, and Hazmat 1. That's a breakdown of all that. Our incident types that we respond to, we have several different incident types. As I mentioned earlier, we don't just ride fires. With our specialty teams, we ride anything and everything, literally. 60% of what we do are emergency medical, from vehicle accidents to choking, cardiac. My toe hurts, so I have a headache. We do a lot of that. We've had a large increase in assisting Guilford County EMS with their labor shortages. We're also having to pick up some of theirs where we're responding with lift assistance and helping with obese patients and getting them to where they need to be. On the other side, with our response times, the accreditation benchmarks are there at the bottom for turnout for 80 seconds, travel time 320. What that is that we are responding within the 90th percentile of that benchmark that accreditation's asked for. When our accreditation team came in and evaluated us, they didn't believe that we were doing as well as they thought. So one of the guys actually said, "I don't believe you. I'm going to leave for the rest of the day. I'm going to communications center." So he went over to the communications center, sat through there. He came back. He said, "I'm sorry, I was wrong. You guys are," in his words, "a top tier top tier agency." So our response times are of the best in the nation. That is largely contributed to our communications center and their efficiency, and it's also largely considered to our new dispatch system. We have a new Purvis dispatch system. The old days when the bell would come on, the lights would come on, if you were awake, it was fine. If you were asleep, it would give you a heart attack. Well, now we have a progressive lighting system that comes on. There's a automated dispatcher that dispatches, and it's faster, it's more efficient, and it shows in our response times. It's working quite well. Last slide is an interesting one in the sense that this is our inspections division, also known as our community risk reduction. We have recently took on a new assistant fire marshal about a year ago. And as our fire marshal was phasing out this over the holidays, he stepped in and took over. He is now our new fire marshal. His name is Scott Ruth. And Scott has literally took things in bull by the horns. Is the best way to say it. He's very aggressive in what he does and how he does it. He's very by the book, and he's very strict in how he handles things, which is great. We are currently inspecting almost 5,600 facilities. Some of them are on a 1-year, 2-year, 3-year rotation. The last slide down there is our investigation division. They all have a double duty, so they respond. They have an on-call week where they respond and do our fire investigations. So we do all of our own fire investigations in-house. So anything from a suspicious car fire to a horrible building fire, they are qualified to inspect all of those, investigate all of those. We also started a fining process for fees for fire code violations. And at the current time, we're up to roughly $46,750 that we've taken in the last 6 to 8 months. That number could go either way. It could increase as time goes on. It could decrease as people are starting to understand how to protect themselves with the fire code, and hopefully, our ultimate goal is to reduce it. Less money would be better, more lives would be saved. So it's a double-edged sword, I guess. Do you have any questions?
Any questions?
So the false alarms, what are the nature of those? Is that because home security systems, or somebody said there's a fire and there's not, or something? I mean,
So we have multiple ways. When we are responding to multiple fire alarms that are false alarms, a lot of our facilities downtown where we are, Astrodite, Morehead Court, some of those elderly facilities, a lot of them are cooking. High Point University, we always joke, hope nobody's in here from High Point University, we always make a joke that they need a culinary school because they are terrible. We've seen everything from Easy Mac, it's Easy Mac, I don't understand. So we joke about that all the time, but those are a lot of our false alarms. A little bit of smoke, a little bit of steam from a shower, that's a lot of them. The little kid pulling a fire alarm, not very common. We don't ride as many of those as you think. We ride a few of the daycares, but probably less than 15 a year. It's not too many. A lot of the false alarms are due to cooking or steam the showers or that sort of thing. Yeah.
okay. So we need an education campaign about
Well,
cooking or
we do.
mindfulness. And I mean, you hear occasionally somebody left a pot on the stove and it
Sure.
burned the house down. I mean,
Sure.
that's going to happen.
It's not as common. Usually, I hate to say it, but usually there's some other form of recreation going on there. There's drugs or alcohol that are involved with that.
Complicating factor.
Yeah, oh, yes. We do have Ms. Anita Lynch. She is retiring. It was supposed to be July 1. I think she's backed it now to maybe April 1. So she's going to be retiring. She was our community involvement person. We're training our investigators now, a couple of them, to take on that extra responsibility. But she was a big part of our junior fire star program, that sort of thing. We do try to get them young and bring them in and teach them the dangers.
Okay, great, thank you.
Great, and you said, this Councilman Johnson, you said that we were about 30 people down? Is that?
Currently, we're roughly 30 personnel short. As I said, we have 12 in rookie school now, or recruit school, that will graduate May 10th. We have 6 that are starting on March this 25th in a fast track class. We have 6 more that are starting roughly April 1st, but they'll be a 16 to 24 class. The downside is we're losing a captain, a firefighter, Miss Lynch, and Chief Reed at the end of this month. So it's a carrot that we're having trouble catching.
So is that 30 part of, did we already do the subtracting in that?
So of the 216 that we've got on here, every day on the truck, we have roughly, we're supposed to have 72 personnel on the truck. We're running a minimum of 60. Every truck in the city today is riding minimum staffing of 3 personnel, with the exception of our rescue truck, which is only has 2 people all the time. So that 216 minus roughly 30, by the end of the year, we're going to lose roughly 10 more to retirement. I didn't go into a whole lot, probably should have, our recruiting. Like I said, we're having trouble maintaining, we're having trouble in competition. We've raised starting pay just recently. There's some talks they're going to raise starting pay again. We need to. High Point was always that department that paid a little more, had better benefits, and had a great working environment. And so people wanted to come to High Point. It was a great place to be a firefighter. We still are. We're just, our pay has slipped a little bit. Our competition has gotten better as far as bottom line. And this generation we've got a lot of legacy people right now. A lot of people who's come back around. I'm a prime example. I'm from Detroit. I'm not from here. I'm a transplant. I started here in '97. I worked, like I said, most of the time at Station 1. And tomorrow morning, my middle son will be on Engine 1. He's a firefighter at Station 1 now. He literally took his first steps in that fire station. He's literally riding the fire truck out of there right now. So both of my older 2 boys both work for the city. One's in Engine 2 and one's on Engine 1. So we don't have that anymore. We're lacking a lot of that. those are the people we're keeping. But others, they're going to the higher bidder. And so when a smaller department is offering more money, we're losing. We lost a few to Charlotte, same reason. We lost a couple to Greensboro, same reason. We've lost, I think, 4 or 5 in the last year or two to private industry, roofing. We lost two of our more senior FEOs, our drivers, on our tiller truck, which is a specialty truck, which is not just your average driver. He's next tier. They went to sell insurance. And it's a pay thing. It's a lifestyle thing. This is a hard job. It's a tough job. It always has been. It always will be. It's dirty. It's hot. It's cold. It's tough. And the passion is there for a lot, and some it's not. We have been reaching out to the military. That's kind of been a new avenue we've gone with. We've partnered with Greensboro a little bit. They had a recruiting officer. That's all they did. And he's a friend of mutual networking. And we've been reaching out to the military. And we have received a few good hires here in the last couple. You can always tell when you interview, you can always tell a military person. Yeah. They're always next tier on their interviews. And when they come in, they're squared away. They're ready. We're a paramilitary organization, and they come in and they pick right up on it, and it's easy for them. We've had a few that came in and just did not understand. We start at 7:55, which means that you're ready to go at 7:55. That doesn't mean you're coming in the door at 7:55. So we always joke with our appraisal program, our evaluations each year, because the way it's listed out, the city is a lot more tolerant. We are not. Offense report once, written offense report twice, termination on the third time. We don't play. Functionality is important. We don't play with that. It's simple terms, and I said I wasn't going to go too long, but simple terms is when I come into this building and it's on fire and I tell you to do something, this is not the time to have a discussion. I tell you, you do, period. And that's why our job is so different from everybody else. It's not negotiable. We're very similar to PD. They're the same way. There's no time for me to explain to you why we're doing this. There's no why.
Just do it, right? Just do it.
Do it, or somebody's going to die.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to die. And I've been in those
Save
situations.
life, yes.
Yeah. I had a guy come out with a gun one time. I said, get out. My guys didn't ask. We got out.
Right.
This guy had a gun. We're leaving. We're life and death. We don't look at it that way every day, but potentially we are.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you for being the
Absolutely.
top-tier agency that you are. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Yes. And we've now come down to the final one, 2024-095, discussion regarding city-sponsored special events. And this is just an informational item that we'll be talking about, or that Mr. Eric O'Mantles will talk to us about.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. We brought this back from last month. This is not to take action on today. We will bring this forward to the next council meeting. We know that we're still working on, with the rest of the council, on who may have conflicts, serve on boards on some of these agencies. So we're trying to fine tune that to make sure that you're able to recuse yourself when the final vote happens. So we intend that to come back in March 18th. A couple of questions that came up after the last meeting, during the last meeting and after. One, it was asked why some of these events that are city events, that the city runs and operates, why they are on this list. It was more an attempt to have the council understand that these are resources that are being used during those times. So, for instance, if we have an outside group that comes and requests that they want to do a 5K on the 4th of July, we know that we can't do that because we have a lot of resources in the Uncle Sam Jam. So that was one question that was asked. So that's why there are some of city events that are sprinkled in here. As was mentioned at the last meeting, the intent of this was also to keep this list around 20 or so events, because we know that that's kind of the capacity that we have internally to do. The other questions that came up were really related to the GoFar race and the 2 races. And I know that our staff members, Lieutenant Stanek and Matt Carpenter from Transportation and some other folks have met closely with GoFar to discuss the downtown race and to try to get some options about how to change the route that may result in fewer resources being needed from the city. If we could, I'd like to have Officer Stanek come up and discuss that a little bit. And we'll, yeah, he can address any specific questions about race day operations and what a different route selection may mean to staffing levels and resources needed.
Sure. So we met with GoFar, and they're here today. We've met with them twice, and I think we've done a total of 8 routes. Matt Carpenter's here also. He's actually the one who did all the routes. So we've knocked it down. The downtown race is generally 30 officers. That's what we feel is safe for that route that they have currently. GoFar's come back with the 3 of the 8 routes that they really like, and all 3 of those are at 22 officers. That's what we feel comfortable with. So we've got those routes today if you want to look at them. I made Matt come. He didn't really have a choice. So if you have any questions for him, he's here too.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to see the routes.
I'm sorry.
I think it'd be good to see the routes
Sure.
if you have them.
Yep.
Yes, it would be.
Probably not. Derek's got them on email. They probably won't work on Google. They do it on email. Yeah, you want to, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, do that.
How do I get to it? That's the question. Give me 2 now? No, give me 2 a.m.
And this can safely be done with the 22 officers, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Let's see here.
They can look at these. I brought one copy. I can pull it up.
Yeah,
Or do you want me to email it to you, man?
I've got them. If you just give me a second here, if I can type on this thing. I'm gonna keep it. Yeah. That's not coming up. Here we go.
I don't have that.
Here we go.
It's on my email.
No, I got it right here, dude.
Yep. Email.
And those that are listening, what we're doing is actually, they're pulling up the routes, I believe.
Having some technical difficulties logging in.
Technical difficulties,
What's that?
yes. But we're still here, we're still on.
Okay. You got 3?
Which one do you want pulled up?
3 of them.
All of them?
All of them, if you can get them. Yeah, 3 that I sent. Okay, yeah.
I'm going to pull up the first one you guys start talking about.
Yeah,
Pull the
sure.
rest ones up.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, can y'all see that?
We can,
So, yeah, zoom on just a little bit. This was the last one that we talked to the folks about. If you can follow along, it starts in the terminal there on Commerce, and they would go, the route would basically run over to Hamilton, north on Hamilton up to Broad, turn left on Broad, come back over to Wren, make a right turn and go over to Main Street, south on Main to Russell, Russell over to Wren, Wren south to Hamilton, Hamilton south to Kearns, Kearns over to Centennial, then back north on Centennial, left turn on to Grimes, right turn on to Hamilton, and up Hamilton to Broad again, make the loop around the block, come back down Wren, and finish back at the same start and finish point there in the terminal. This changes the route a little bit from what we've run in years past, and it drops, like Ian said, drops the amount of officers we need from 30 down to 22. So that was their biggest question to us was, could we find a route that would reduce officers? And by flipping things over to Main Street, using a piece of Main Street, and consolidating around the block there, Commerce, Hamilton, Broad, we were able to get it down to 22. I think this is the preferred route from GoFar at this point. We can talk about some others if you want to, but they're basically the same. They're very similar to this. Starting and ending points change a little bit, but this is the basic route, the basic layout of the area of the city we're using.
I think the key was avoiding the Martin Luther King and the English Road intersections.
Well, that has been a concern of ours over the years, is to make sure that we stay south of MLK and English. We do affect, and that's mainly to stay away from our bus routes. So we do affect bus routes on Green Drive, but they have a decent detour. They can detour to Centennial and get back to MLK English. And we would affect bus routes on South Main, but again, they have a detour to get to Elm Street. So we've got some built-in ways to get those around. The other key to this, I don't know if everyone's familiar with it, is this is a closed course. This is the only 5K that we completely close the course. There is no traffic that moves while the kids are running. So that's what makes this a little more challenging, is that we shut everything down. All the traffic's detoured. There are no cars allowed to be on these streets while the kids are out there. That's the only 5K that we do that for. But that's part of the challenge of this course is making sure that we don't negatively impact our bus service too much and still be able to accommodate around 2,000 kids or so that run this race in this 3-hour time frame.
Just to clarify real quick what you're looking at too, all the small black circles, those are static officer spots. Those are very important to make sure the route stays closed. We do have a lead and a tail who obviously, I mean, just like it says, they lead the race, and there's one at the very end. And then the rover, that's a really important spot. We think we're okay just doing one for this, because once the tail comes through, the lead comes through, they turn into a rover also. But inevitably, you're going to have somebody who got there at 5 in the morning to do work in a showroom is going to pull out and somehow end up on the course. So those are important for. I just got the contract yesterday for the sprint triathlon. We usually have 2 or 3 for that, just because it's so spread out. And inevitably, something's going to happen where we need to reposition somebody. But just to clarify, the black circles are static spots, and then you have the 3 who are mobile.
So how many hours are the officers working that day?
It's 3 to 4. So yeah, we usually get there about 30 or so minutes before they start. They do a fun run beforehand, but no more than 4.
And where are you all stationed again on here?
I'm sorry?
Where are you all stationed on here again?
Anything that you see with a black circle. So first one I'm looking at is High and Main. So the little hollow black circles are the static spots.
I got you, okay. All right. Any other questions, comments, council?
No.
You good? You good? Okay, thank you.
So as I mentioned, we'll bring this back to you on March 18th. It'll be a general agenda item, so we can determine those separate votes that are needed on that item.
Thank you.
All right. If there's nothing else, we'll move to adjourn.